Hello, all you positive heads out there. It's so good to be back with all you beautiful reflections of the one source consciousness that creates and animates all things. If you're new to this podcast, of course, we are super happy to have you here, and we just ask that you bring an open mind and heart to your listening experience and to be prepared to explore vantage points that I'm convinced will help shift or solidify your current understanding of the ultimate nature of reality in a way that is extremely empowering. Speaking of exploring powerful perspectives, I'm super excited to announce the release of my very first book, The Golden Key: Modern Alchemy to Unlock Infinite Abundance. If you're ready to alchemize the circumstances in your life so that your abundance expands to an entirely new level in 2021, head over to goldenkey.gift to download the audio or ebook as my gift to you by using the code POSITIVEHEAD.
All right, all you positive heads, welcome. Welcome, one and all. You guys, today is a really special episode. I have with me our incredible editor, Sarah Rusk. Sarah, I am really stoked to have you with me today. Thank you so much for joining me.
Erica, thank you so much for having me on. And like we had said before, it is so surreal having you talk and me then talk back, and then having you answer. It's such a surreal feeling. It's so cool.
It's so funny, you guys, because Sarah listens to every single episode. Obviously, she is our editor. And so she's
Yeah.
so used to just listening to this one, and just like you guys are, right? For the most part. And yeah, so it's fun to actually sit and have a conversation. And so the reason why we're doing this today is because Sarah reached out with a really interesting question. And I wanted to address it on the show because I know that what she is experiencing, she is not alone. And I also know that some people think that they're experiencing this, but they might not really be experiencing this. So there's a couple different things that I want to talk about today. So Sarah, why don't you let me know what's going on with you and tell us basically your question.
Sure. So I'll give a little bit of a scenario as to what it triggered me, I guess you could say, to have this conversation. So I'm involved in horses, and I have found a really cool trainer that who's actually a friend of mine. It's one of those situations that when the student is ready, the teacher appears.
Mm.
I've known her for about 3 years, and she's been throwing nuggets at me, and I've just been kind of like, "Yeah, yeah," and then I just went all in, and it's been a good experience with the horses, but also with me personally. Like, she's
Mm.
taught me a lot of really cool skills. Um, she was telling me while I was sitting on my horse, Abigail, she said, "I want you to envision or visualize directing her feet towards the road, like way out past the arena. Because if you think about it, if you have her take a couple of steps, like you're anticipating stopping."
Mhm.
So she said, just all your intention out there, like just visualize all that. And I found myself checking out while she was talking about that. And I thought to myself, because I've become more aware, I thought to myself, why am I checking out? Like what's going on with me? Why aren't I able to focus and pay attention to it? And I went home and I thought about it some more, and I'm like, what happens when I close my eyes and visualize? And I thought I was able to visualize. I've discovered it's more so a feeling more than anything.
Mm.
If you were to tell me, do not think of a pink elephant, I can't think of a pink elephant. I think I'm not supposed to be thinking about something. There's something that I am not supposed to be thinking, and I'm thinking it. I don't know what it is, but that's what it is. So that I went on the handy dandy Google, and I Googled, when I close my eyes, I can't visualize, or I can't see anything in my mind's eye. And I found out that as of 2015, it's been recognized. It's not necessarily a disorder. I saw their stats that between like 2 to 3% of the population has a similar phenomenon with it. They don't really know if you're born with it, if it's something that's just either suppressed. And as I mentioned to you previously, Erica, I've gone through a lot of childhood trauma and a lot of suppression within myself. And something I find very funny, I'm a photographer by trade, and I do a lot of artwork and stuff. And yet I can't see it ahead of time. I kind of just like hit the button and just kind of wing it, you know?
Hmm. Interesting. That is very
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
You would think you would be able to see it in your mind being a creative and having a visual
Yes.
career essentially.
Yeah, you which I think it's very oxymoronical or paradoxical if you could say.
Mhm.
And it has a name, and I googled to make sure I'm saying the pronunciation right, and it's aphantasia. I kept wanting to call it aphantasia, but aphantasia,
Mhm.
and it's the inability to visualize mental images, and it sometimes could be pictures, it could be smells, it could be sounds, and it also could be facial recognition, which I know personally, I have a hard time recognizing faces.
Do you?
I do.
Mhm.
I do. And I don't know if it's more so like sometimes my mind can be lazy where like I can hyper focus on certain details and maybe it didn't, cross my mind to pick up on this certain trait, I just thought it was very interesting. And then there's the opposite, which is hyperphantasia, I
Mhm.
think it is, where you can see extreme vivid details, which that to me is mind-boggling.
Right? I would imagine for someone who can't see a visual image to imagine the complete opposite, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
and what if you could? I just had that thought. What does that when I say to you, "Hey, you're gonna be able to see all of this very vividly in your mind." How does that feel to you to feel like you can do that?
It's very scary. Like, I'll be 100% honest with you. It's very scary and very very intimidating. I by nature am introverted. Actually, I take that back, not by nature. I am an introvert because that's kind of the persona and the cloak I put on, so to speak, of like I've got to stay within myself and not be able to express it and be
Mm.
able to see outside, because what if outside of me is a lot scarier than what I'm used to with being in my nice safe little bubble where like I'm just kind of in my own world and could just feel everything instead of seeing
Mm.
everything.
Yeah, very interesting. I was wondering if there was a fear component there, which is why the question came up in my mind. Yeah,
Yeah. No, there's definitely, and if I may go into a little bit of my background,
please.
I am a domestic abuse survivor, and it's something that like I don't wear it on my sleeve. It's not my introduction when I meet someone. It's like, oh hey, by the way, like my dad abused me growing up. It's something that I have made peace with and let go of, and it's interesting. So he was an alcoholic, and he you know pretty much trapped us within our own household, and the environment that I've been living in for it was the past 21 years, because he died when I was 21 and I'm 28 now, it was a living hell. And the stuff that was suppressed from me, not being able to go out and go see friends or have friends come over and have my life pretty much controlled, I feel has very much so stifled a lot of my creativity. Again, really funny that I have chosen photography as a profession, to pursue professionally. Um, I've also lost a lot of myself within it too, and not being able to explore who I am as a person. It took me until my 20s after my dad has passed to be able to know who I am, to know what feels good to me, and to trust my body. Because I am, as Joe Dispenza says, I had been operating in high beta for forever. When you're in high beta, you don't give a rat's behind about anybody but yourself. You're not giving, you're not loving, and you're not even loving yourself.
Mhm.
And I had a lot of that too. And I have to say, despite the fact that he has since passed, it'll be I think 7 years this year, or no, 8 years. It's been 8 years this year. We are still living with the ramifications of it all. And
Mm.
my mom, my sister, and I are still, even at, as early as this morning, me and my mom had a conversation about it, because there's times where it feels like he's still here, and I have found that it has stifled me quite a bit with being able to just be safe in expressing myself without being afraid of being hurt, or even hurting myself from it too, from being like, oh no, I'm going to be the episode on Tuesday that you recorded, Erica, let your freak flags fly, like that resonated with me,
Good.
but yeah.
Yeah. And it should because you know what? This is exactly what I was thinking about as I was as I was listening to you because all of that that happened to you, it happened, right?
Mhm.
But we don't need to carry forward this fear because you are safe
Yeah.
now. You are safe. And so that story of that happened before, that can just be before because the
Yeah.
now is I am safe and I can explore and I can see what's out there because I am safe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, exactly. And it's very empowering. And I've got to tell you, as someone who's so used to not having power, it's scary.
Hmm.
It's very scary. I mean, again, with working with my friend with the horses, she told me my horse Abigail was gifted to me for my birthday. I had my heart horse Braveheart. He had one eye. He was 21 years old. They told me that he wouldn't go very far. We qualified for the World Championship barrel race in Perry, Georgia, and I was
Wow.
told that he would never be able to do it. His conformation was terrible. Like he wasn't put together well.
Mm.
He gave me his all always, and
Oh.
unfortunately, I had to put him down because I put all of my life savings into saving him, and he told me I offered him a Twizzler. He loved Twizzlers, and he walked away and went into the corner, and that's kind of when I knew it was time. And talk about a quick manifestation story. I put the intention out there that I wanted a horse, and I saw one in California. I'm in New Jersey, and I was so excited. I had the money to do it. It was a baby. I was going to train her from the ground up. Her name was going to be Callie. She was a cool horse, and they told me it wasn't worth it to ship her out to Jersey from California. And I was like, you know what, fair. And then all of a sudden, I was gifted a horse on my property for free on my birthday. This amazing horse, Abigail, who nobody wanted her, and she was just pretty much left for dead, needless to say. She was
Mm.
petrified of everything. And this
Mm.
horse, we went to the beach this November, and she was a saint and an angel the entire time, and I can ride her bareback, bridleless, with nothing
Mm.
on her, and she listens to me, and me and her have such a great connection. And I've been working with my friend on this connection, and she told me, your horse is so sensitive. You personally are operating on a kindergarten level. Your horse is like an Oxford student.
Mm.
Like, you need to match her.
Wow. Isn't that amazing? What a gift on so many levels.
Oh, absolutely.
I love horses. I'm a horse person myself. It's not something I talk about a lot, but I grew up with horses. I grew up riding horses. I grew up showing. Um,
Oh,
I have a very special connection to horses myself, and so I very much understand the connection that we have
yeah.
to our friends, because they're like a partner, your horse,
They
right?
are.
She's like a partner.
She's awesome.
And this energetic connection, she came into your life to help you. You're
Yep.
helping her, she's helping
Yep.
you. And I
Mhm.
love this mirror. She came in, she was terrified. And look, now she's safe. You showed her that.
Yeah.
How beautiful is that? You showed her that
It's
because that
yeah.
is within you,
Mhm.
right? If she is so smart, she is so intuitive. Horses are they pick up all the energies.
They
If
do.
she thought that you were scared or that was the energy that she picked up from you, she would have never become who she is today.
Yeah.
How beautiful is that? So what
Yeah.
you can look at her every day and be like, "Wow, what an amazing reflection you are of me,
Yeah.
Abigail."
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the thing too, is and I have looked at it like that, Erica, but not to the extent, like, I just had a really good profound aha moment too, where I'm able to put that energy into something that I love
Mm,
very, very much. I also love myself very, very much. And
yeah.
needless to say, I should be taking that energy and kind of reprogramming it and putting it back into myself.
Totally. Yes, because all of this energy can be transformed and
Yeah,
transmuted. Whatever
absolutely.
energy is present in our system, we have the equal and opposite energy as well. And
Yeah.
it's a matter of which wolf are we feeding, right?
Yeah.
You get to decide. And that's why I love this life. It's so beautiful. We get to decide. Yeah.
We do get to decide.
Mhm.
And it's fun when you have when you know that the universe and your angels and your guides and everybody have your back. I have
Mhm.
one quick synchronicity that I would like to share. And I always
Please.
said that
We love
if
these.
I ever got to speak on the show, I would want to give this synchronicity because it involves the positive head.
Awesome.
Um so I I am gay, and it has been very hard. Like, I check the analytics every single day. There's about 15,000 people to 20,000 people that check the show every single day, and I feel more comfortable saying this out loud to 20,000 strangers who are all a part of myself, of course, than to people who are close to me, because again, living in that fear and being squashed, not being able to be myself. This is something I discovered. And I wanted to tell my mom because I was going into, I believe this was 2017, because we were going into a 1 year, whichever one was the 1 year. and we were going to lose my grandmom. She was on hospice, and I wanted to do it before she passed away, just in case I got an adverse reaction from my mom. So it was cold. It was the 26th of December. And I said to myself, all right, guys, you know, show me a feather, give me a sign of this feather if I should come out to my mom. And I went for a walk and I threw on the Positive Head podcast and I was listening to Brandon speak and everything. And I was more so like in my head and not really listening to what he was saying. And I got like halfway around my block and my phone shut off because it was cold. And I'm like, ah, you stupid piece of crap. And I was getting very angry and frustrated with myself. And by the time I walked back around, my phone turned back on. And I have a MacBook computer and it has about like close to 200 different backgrounds. And I have it cycle through different backgrounds. And wouldn't you know it, when my phone turned back on and Brendan started speaking again, he was reading the Terrence McKenna quote of nature loves courage. And he had just gotten done saying about hurling yourself into the abyss and discovering that the life is a feather bed or something.
Mm.
As soon as he said feather bed, I opened my computer and I had my background was 5 feathers going across the back of
Oh my
it.
goodness.
So
Wow. Ask and you shall receive. Yeah.
absolutely. So, needless to say, I did tell my mom, and I it was a scary reaction, and it kind of that also led for a little bit more of conversations and feeling secure in myself. It wasn't necessarily the reaction I was hoping for. Again, coming from a place of scarcity, what are people going to think? What if you change your mind? And
Mhm.
I've become to accept it and learn to accept that if I change my mind, cool,
That's
that's on
okay.
me.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
that's
I can
okay.
do whatever I want. I can be this
Hell
today,
yeah.
I can be that tomorrow. It's my
Yeah,
decision, and I'm
exactly.
whatever makes me happy today is what makes me happy today, and I'm gonna be in this moment, making
Yes.
myself happy.
And that more than anything, Erica, I think is one of, especially for something like this, one of the biggest. So what if I can't see things when I close my eyes? So what if I, get nervous every now and again? I know that deep down, I truly love and accept myself. And in this moment right now, I am whole and complete as I am.
Mm, yes, that is so beautiful. What a beautiful reminder. In this moment right now, I am whole and complete as I am. That's
Yeah,
so beautiful, Sarah. Wow.
Before we continue on with today's episode, I'd like to take a quick moment to tell you about our sponsor, NOOM. NOOM is a unique habit changing solution that helps users learn to develop a new relationship with food. And it's not a diet. No food is considered good or bad. As we talk about on this show all the time, it's all about proper balance and having good habits. And Noom just teaches you how to look within your own mind and make better decisions for yourself. Sounds familiar, right? It's based in psychology, eating better to feel better. It focuses on the story that we tell around food and how to feel good about our choices. And they make it all super easy to do with a minimal commitment of only 10 minutes a day, which is essential for someone like me with so much on my plate. Pun intended. So, if you guys would like to try out the cognitive behavioral approach to losing weight that has led to 80% of Noomers finishing the program and 60% sticking to their goals for at least 1 year, head over to noom.com/positivehead to start your trial today. That's spelled NOOM.com/positivehead. I mean, what do you have to lose except outdated habits and perhaps a few extra pounds by signing up for the trial? Once again, that's NOOM.com/positivehead. Check it out.
So I wanna get back to this, visualization thing
sure,
because like I
absolutely.
said at the beginning too, sometimes, um, people have a perception that they can't visualize, but they actually can. There's just a different understanding of what that is, right?
Sure.
Um, and then also in your case, maybe it is that you are blocking it somehow.
Mhm.
And there's like, what is the cause? And maybe we are getting towards it today. I think we are. So you can, explore that a little bit more within yourself, right?
Yeah,
But so I have a question for you.
sure.
Do you dream?
I do dream. Yes.
What is it like when you dream?
I can give you a feeling associated with it. I
Mhm.
see pictures,
Mhm.
but it's very fluid like water.
Mm.
And I can't hold it. And if I try to hold it, it just seeps right through my fingers.
Interesting. Okay, describe more to me about what do you mean by holding it?
More so holding it is just if I were to try to bring it up, that's
Hmm.
just kind of the visual I can give is just if I try to bring it up, it just kinda it's very fleeting. I
I
can't
see.
yeah, I can't hold on to it. I could give you details, but it's not like super, super details,
Hmm.
if that makes any sense.
No, it does make sense. So for you, and like you said at the beginning, you have more of the feeling. The feeling is what is the strongest in you.
Yeah.
And so this is what I find interesting too. Okay, so when you are someone who doesn't see the mental image, right?
Mhm.
The mind's eye image, oftentimes what will happen is the other senses are increased. Um, and there's always a reason behind this, and I love that it's always gonna be different for everyone, right? And so we have as humans, we are gifted with intuition, right? We're all
Yeah.
gifted with this. It's on various different levels for all of us, or our level of awareness of it, really. Like, how
Yeah.
strong is the awareness of our connection? But it's
Mhm.
there for everyone. And for everyone, it's different. And
Yeah.
so there's like, all the different clairs, the seeing, the hearing, the feeling, the sensing. I think I'm missing something, the knowing. Um, but one of those is gonna be, like, maybe your strongest, or maybe you have 2 that are the strongest. Not really everybody has all of them, like, really, really strong. And so you may think that if you can't visualize, then that might, well, then I can't do these other things that take me to this place. Not true, because all of these senses are activating that same side of the brain that is involved with your intuition, right? The creative side, the imaginative side. So however it is that you are getting your sense, your clair to come in, then that is special to you, and you can, just pay attention to that sense and go with that instead of, "Oh, I'm not seeing anything." That's okay.
Yeah.
What am I feeling?
Yeah.
It takes you to the same place,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, exactly. Because especially with the feeling, needing to know and when you live in high beta all the time or in an environment where you're constantly scared not knowing if you are going to live, um, having that intuitive sense of like if
Yes.
you hear a movement, what's gonna happen. It's almost I don't want to say like being in war. I personally don't know what that feels like, but the enemy is literally right outside my door.
It's very interesting that you just used that analogy
Oh.
because I had a session with somebody this week who, was an ex-military person who was, in charge of guarding ambassadors over in, like, Afghanistan and things, so he was in the middle of the war zone, and, when I was talking to him about his intuition, I kept seeing, like, well, you have to be very intuitive doing this job
Yeah.
that you do,
Mhm.
and that sense of, "Oh, there might be this guy over there on that roof that I might need to look over there," and how many
Yeah.
times has that happened to you, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, the environment really that we're in is going to, trigger what sense we need more. And
Yep.
so like, yeah, it was in a sense a coping mechanism, right?
Mhm.
But also helping you in one way because now you feel so intensely and your intuition is so strong. But now
Yeah.
that you know this, why you did it, you might be able to also balance it out knowing that you are safe now and that you can use this Claire and also increase your others.
Yep. Exactly.
Yeah. So wait, cuz you paint pictures too, don't you?
I do, yeah, I've got the acrylic pour paintings and stuff behind me, yeah.
Do you ever paint like images?
I I cheat a little bit. I have a Cricut Maker,
Uh-huh.
because I love drawing.
Mhm.
I'm not good at it, but I will try to trace out things. I'm very creative in the sense that I'll go onto the computer and I'll find a couple of like images and I'll put them together and then
Mhm.
print them out and then trace them and then start to kind of to put them together and paint them as I see fit, you know.
Very cool. What if I were to ask you to draw a picture of something? How would you do it?
If I were to draw, I would take a pencil and just whatever would pop into my mind
Sure. So say I wanted you to draw a picture of a car,
of a
right?
car. Okay. Yeah.
So you take a pencil and a piece of paper.
Mhm.
What's the process for you?
For me, I would try to call up what a car would look like, and I immediately go to a basic car. Like, I wouldn't think of my car. I literally would draw one of those, like, a cartoon, a basic like a little like half circle up top and then like a longer shape with like wheels and then I'd be like car, there you go.
Perfect. But you would think of what that car looked like.
Yes.
What happens when you think of what that car looks like?
If I think of what the car looks like, it is
Can you
able
see
to
it?
pop. I can. The thing is, it's very murky and very
Uh-huh.
clouded.
Yeah. There's different levels of this, yeah, how
Yes,
strong or
exactly.
how, not strong it is, but so, yeah, so you can do it, and this is the point
Yes.
I wanna get to.
Yeah.
You can do it. It's
Mhm.
also, like, when we think we can't too, that idea of "I think I can't" is also gonna not allow you to do it, but when
Oh,
it's
oh,
simple
absolutely.
of, "What does a car look like? Oh, a car looks like this. Oh, yeah, I
Mhm.
kinda saw that. Okay, cool, that does work. That image does work," right? And if
Yeah,
I asked you you go to get Abigail every day, you know? And if I
yeah.
asked you to describe to me, like, what does it look like as you walk towards her stable? And, like, describe to me that whole scene as you were my eyes, because I
Yeah.
can't see it. Would you
Mhm.
be able to do that?
I would be able to do that,
Mhm.
absolutely.
Perfect. Perfect. Yes. So, not complete aphantasia, but a little bit,
Mhm.
because
Right.
it's
Yeah.
and what I love about this is this recognition of this,
Mhm.
condition, right? I guess we'll call it a
Yeah,
condition,
yeah. Mhm.
um, is very new, but when I read all the things about it too, I thought to myself, "Hmm, there's a reason why," and I bet you this isn't something that is, like, a permanent thing. Our brains,
I agree.
Joe Dispenza, like you just mentioned earlier, like, we're constantly making new networks, new connections.
Yep.
And we can prevent them too somewhere along our
Absolutely.
life, right? So we can reconnect. And
Yeah.
and I think little ways of understanding like, "Oh, I can see that." And if I bring in that feeling
Mhm.
to that car, right? Like if you picture that car and now like feel yourself driving it. And
Yeah.
even maybe can you smell the gas or like feel
Yeah.
the vibration, taking the curves. All of those bringing in all of those things helps you actually see the picture more, doesn't it?
It does, and it's actually really funny you say that because I have lovingly named my car Ruby. She is another manifestation story who it should not have happened, and I literally made a car, Erica, appear out of nowhere in a parking lot. Like,
Wow.
I shit you not. So she's lovingly dubbed Ruby Red Rocket, and, like,
Love it.
she's a red Honda Civic, hatchback.
Wow.
My dream car because I can go camping in her if I so choose to. I actually have a blow-up
Yes.
mattress for it.
Sarah and I think we are soul sisters because I
I
also love to camp in
agree.
my car.
Oh, yes.
I have a Prius hatchback, so I can do the same thing. Yep.
Oh, my old car was a Prius.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally
Um,
love it.
but I can envision because like, I can feel what it feels like to get into my car and to feel so excited to drive this car that I cannot believe is mine, and, like, I could feel the steering wheel and I can see it too.
Mhm.
I can in my mind's eye can see it
Yes.
as long as well as, like, being able to touch everything as well.
Yeah, yeah, really interesting, huh? Yeah, because you
Yeah.
can. We all can. And two, like memories, right? Like if
Mm,
you were to imagine one of the happiest days, say, like pick a really special day in your life, right? And you look
okay.
back at that day and recall what that day was like. You can almost see it. You can almost see the people around. You can see like the place you were at, the food you
Yeah.
ate. You can almost taste it if you really think about it,
Yeah.
And so we have access to all of this and it's all in our brains. And it's
Mhm.
just a matter of, you know, recalling it. It's all there.
Absolutely. And
Hmm.
now I have a question for you, Erica.
Hmm.
I've gotten pretty big into the Joe Dispenza stuff myself, and from someone who has had a lot of past trauma, and when thinking back to memories, it's kind of difficult because it's very scary.
Yeah.
Changing those memories
Hmm.
to serve you,
Hmm.
is that something? Because I do have a hard time recalling memories. Like I have a hard time recalling what Braveheart feels like and what he looks like without kind of looking at a picture. It's become very fuzzy, and it's also been kind of frustrating to me. But
Sure.
is it good to kind of change if you had a bad memory and you wanted something to go the way you wanted it to? Is it okay and is it healthy to be able to kind of shift it to play out in your favor instead of the way that it actually happened?
Um, so the way that I would consider doing that would be
Okay.
to shift my perspective in terms of how I'm viewing the situation. Meaning
Okay.
I wouldn't change the backstory. Like what
Okay.
happened happened and it happened
Mhm.
this way. And that's that. That is the reality of what happened to me
Okay.
or happened for me, right?
Yeah.
But the way that I look back at that, I can either um, be grateful for it, right? Because it's taught
Okay.
me something,
Yeah.
or I can feel like the whole world is against me. I can feel
Mm.
like this awful thing happened to me, and why did this have to happen to me, right?
Yeah.
And so for me, that's the perspective change is how I am looking back on it in my perspective of
Gotcha.
how did this actually serve me? Because I promise you it did. I promise you it did. Oh,
Yeah.
this is so crazy. I don't know how this I didn't know how this was gonna come up today, but I knew it would. Weird. Okay. Earlier, I came across, a post of Lisa Kudrow's. She gave a graduation speech to, I don't know if it was I think it was a college. And she was talking about how her whole career, it's hard becoming an actress and how many
Yeah.
times you get fired and, you think you're getting this big role and then you get fired. Like she got fired from Frasier. And when she got fired from Frasier, it was like awful because it was going to be this big show and it was like this big break. And then she got fired and she was like, oh my God. And people would call her and be like, man, I don't know how you get out of bed every day. That's like the worst thing,
Oh my god.
Yeah. And I love her. I really resonate. I have a Phoebe type of character within myself. Um,
Oh.
and so she was like, you know what? What else, like else could possibly happen, So if this is the worst, fine. And she went out to a party and she was like, she saw this guy that she thought was really attractive and she's like, well, it can't get any worse. I might as well just try it, like what else could possibly happen? So she
Yeah.
talks to him, they wind up going out on a date. They've been married for however many years now. They have a child. And
Wow.
later on she got this she went on to audition for Friends. And obviously she was one of the first people cast. And they were all sitting around one day after filming, I think, of the pilot. And somebody said to her, hey, well, it's a good thing you got fired from Frasier because you would have never been here. And she was like, damn straight. It's a good thing I got fired from Frasier.
Yeah.
And, it takes a little time and patience sometimes to like look back and be like, damn, it was a good thing. It was a good thing, you know? So it's a little harder when you're talking about domestic abuse, you
Of
know,
course.
to turn around and say, it was a good thing that my dad did that to me, right? Like that's hard to
Yeah.
say. It. But
Absolutely.
when you can get to a place where like complete forgiveness of dad, complete
Yeah.
forgiveness of yourself, even for like everything, because there's things that we do to ourselves in this process,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Um, but if you get to that place of total forgiveness and understanding of like, dad was screwed up in his own right, and he probably wasn't raised in a way that allowed him to be any better than who he was. And so how could I have expected him to be any more than that kindergartner? I'm the
Yeah.
Oxford student here in this
Yeah.
situation, right? Yeah. And so
Exactly.
you look at it like that and you're like, you know what? Thanks, Dad. Thanks for teaching me how strong I am. Thanks for
Yeah.
really helping me ignite this feeling intuition within me that
Absolutely.
I have that now, I can feel really safe in the world because I have that. Because I
Yeah.
know that if I'm not safe, I'll know it immediately and I'll be able to get out.
Exactly.
Thanks, Dad.
Yeah. Exactly,
Right?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god. So yeah, that and compassion. I have no longer turned him into this awful, terrible monster. Like I found this out later, but he had plans of killing both me and my mom and taking my sister away. And I instead of it fuels my fire because now I can take my
Mhm.
story that I
Mhm.
have and I can turn this in and help other people. And I also have found compassion for this man because he was someone who was so sick and stuck and trapped that he couldn't even turn to himself or his own family for
Mm.
help.
Yeah.
And that in itself, that hurts me more than anything that
Yeah.
he couldn't find help for himself.
Yeah.
So that's what I've been able to learn a lot. That's one of my biggest takeaways from my journey and my process, which is still ongoing, is just finding compassion for those who seriously really need it the most, you know?
And how beautiful is that? I mean, how else would you have learned that depth of compassion if you had
Oh, yeah,
not gone through this? You
exactly.
can't learn this from the outside. You
Yep.
can't learn this in a book. You have to experience it. And the beauty about experiencing it is that when you come out of it like this, you understand, oh my goodness, I can help others now.
Yeah.
And that's why you don't change the story.
Yeah. Ah, wow. Full circle. Oh my gosh. My mind, I don't know if you saw my mind just like splattered on my back wall.
We always got to go full circle around here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Very beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being
Oh,
so
Erica.
open and willing to discuss this with me today. I know that this show is going to help a lot of people today.
I hope so. And that's more than anything. I can't thank you enough for entertaining my question and for letting me be able to speak because
Oh,
it's the same thing. I hope if this touches somebody that like my purpose has been fulfilled. That's more than anything what I want.
that's so beautiful. Yes, I just when I read this question, I was like, absolutely, so many people need this. And I was like, let's just do this on the show. I don't even want to do this
Yeah.
solo. I want to do this with you so we can talk about this.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love
Yeah.
it.
So
Yeah,
thank
thank you
you.
again,
I
Erica.
really
Thank you.
appreciate you for joining me. I am so,
Of
so
course.
grateful. And I also want to say, while I have you here, how grateful I am for all your work every day on this podcast. Without you, this show would not be able to be what it is. And so you are such a huge, huge, huge part in this wheel, this cycle of the Positive Head podcast. And I
Oh,
thank you
thank
so much
you.
for all your effort and all your work and all your
Of
creativity
course.
and everything that you do and all your patience with me. I mean, there's so many
No.
things you guys I could thank Sarah for. Jeez.
No, I understand. It's part of the process. It really is, and it's funny because I worked with you guys for a little bit, and then I had some horse stuff, and then I came back. Brandon actually called me on my birthday. It'll be 2 years this July
Oh
23rd, so it was
my
kind of a birthday present all the way around, you know?
oh my God, I love it. That is so perfect. Well, you
Yeah,
are just meant to be here. You are obviously soul femme, and I just love you. So
I love you too,
I
Erica.
thank you
Thank you
so
so
much.
much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Hey, do you want to pick a song for us today?
I think so. The song that I would choose to pick is "Swim" by Jack's Mannequin.
Hmm.
And he's got this line that he says over and over again, which is to just keep your head above.
Ah,
And it's a song that hits home every single time. So I'll leave y'all with Swim by Jax
I
Mannequin.
love that. Beautiful, Sarah. Thank you so much. Thank you for all
Thank
of
you,
your
Erica.
insight and thank you for sharing. I'm so grateful for you. I love you.
Love you too,
We love you all.
Erica.
Till next time.
Also, quickly, before we cue up today's song, I wanted to remind you to download the Golden Key, audio or ebook, as my free gift to you at goldenkey.gift using the code POSITIVEHEAD. I also wanted to remind you that I will now be doing a live Q&A every Thursday night at 6 p.m. Pacific time on the new social audio app Clubhouse. I have really been wanting to connect and interact with all of you more for quite some time, and I'm super excited to now have 2 new ways to do it. First, if you're already on Clubhouse, be sure to follow me and click the little bell on my profile and select to always be notified when I go live on the Clubhouse app. And if you'd like to connect on an even more intimate Zoom gathering once a month, now you can do that too by registering at goldenkey.gift.
You gotta swim, swim for your life. Swim for the music that saves you when you're not so sure you'll survive. You gotta swim, and swim when it hurts. The whole world is watching, you haven't come this far to fall off the earth. The currents will pull you away from your love. Just keep your head above. I found a tidal wave begging to tear down the dawn. Memories like bullets, they fire at me from a gun. Cracking the armor, yeah. I swim for brighter days despite the absence of sun. Choking on salt water, I'm not giving in. sisters and brothers and friends. Yeah, you gotta swim through wars without cause. Swim for the lost politicians who don't see their greed as a flaw. The currents will pull us away from our love. Just keep your head above. I found a tidal wave begging to tear down the dawn. Memories like bullets, they fired me from a gun. A crack in the armor, yeah. I swim for brighter days despite the absence of sun. Choking on salt water, I'm not giving in. Your head above. Just keep your head above. Swim. Just keep your head